welcome to my channel, The Historic State. Before we analyze the stunning 2 minutes that proved a rulebook is often more lethal than arrogance, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe right now. Your support is the only thing that keeps these high-stakes stories of precision and quiet brilliance in the air. Now, let's talk about the sky. Top Gun, formerly known as the Navy Fighter Weapons School, is the ultimate crucible. It's a world built on speed, aggression, and calculated risk. Here, the pursuit of Maverick brilliance is often favored over textbook perfection. But what happens when the Maverick meets the manual? When raw instinct fails, and the only path to survival is the very discipline that was scorned? Today, we bring you the astonishing story of Commander Elias Viper Thorne, a legendary instructor who preached aggressive innovation, and Lieutenant Kayden Sharma, a student mocked for his unwavering commitment to the protocol. Thorne wanted to break Sharma's rigid discipline. He thought Sharma's by-the-book approach was a terminal flaw. He was catastrophically wrong. When an impossible system failure hit at 30,000 feet, Kayden's precise, compartmentalized knowledge didn't just save his FA-18. It performed a landing that redefined the word perfect, leaving the legendary instructor utterly humbled. Our story unfolds over the Pacific in the unforgiving arena of Top Gun. Commander Elias Viper Thorne was an icon. His call sign was earned through decades of boundary-pushing, aggressive maneuvers. He believed victory lay outside the margins of the manual. And then there was Lieutenant Kayden Sharma. Kayden was flawless. He was statistically the best pilot in the class. But his maneuvers were clinical, geometrically perfect, and utterly predictable. For Thorne, this was a defect, a failure of imagination. Then Commander Thorne. Rule. Your ingress on that approach was perfectly standard. Your climb rate, perfectly by the book. Are you flying an aircraft, Lieutenant? Or are you filling out a multiple-choice exam? Where is the hunger? Where is the aggression? You are a pilot, not a spreadsheet. Kayden never responded with anger, only with chilling composure. While other pilots sought the thrill of the maneuver, Kayden sought the absolute truth of the numbers. He had internalized the FA-18's 30,000-page operational manual not as a suggestion, but as the blueprint for non-negotiable survival. Thorne saw a lack of courage. Kayden saw a lack of data. He understood that instinct is a variable, procedure is a constant. An THE ultimate test arrived not in a dogfight, but in a sudden, catastrophic system cascade failure. And Kayden was cruising at 30,000 feet. Without warning, a chain of failures, something the engineers deemed statistically impossible, hit his aircraft. Total hydraulic pressure loss, followed instantly by complete flight control surface power failure. The plane, a multi-million-dollar weapon, instantly became a 32,000-pound brick hurtling toward the ocean. None Commander Thorne, report. What's your status? You're dropping altitude fast. Engage auxiliary power. Lieutenant Sharma, negative. Auxiliary failed. Total hydraulic failure. Loss of all flight surfaces. Initiating emergency system protocol Sierra 9 none. Thorne was paralyzed. His entire world was built on forcing the aircraft to obey. But the plane was now obeying physics, not impulse. He instinctively began shouting the aggressive, instinctual checklist he'd used 100 times, the Maverick solutions. But Kayden didn't listen. His mind, trained to treat crisis as a multi-step equation, had already taken over. His response was chillingly swift. He needed to execute a landing that required precision control, but he had no control. The manual Maverick had to override the Maverick himself. In the tower, Thorne was shouting for an ejection. In the cockpit, Kayden was executing Sierra 9. End protocol. Sierra 9 was a legendary, almost mythical procedure, a 300-step emergency checklist designed for this exact impossible scenario. It required using the engine thrust differential and auxiliary fuel trim as the only means of control. It was a strategy requiring inhuman composure and decimal point precision. It was something only a computer could execute, or someone who had memorized the computer's soul. Kayden didn't use aggression. He used incremental, calibrated bursts of thrust to steer the falling aircraft. He was turning his 32,000-pound aircraft using nothing but jet exhaust, an act of hyper-precision that defied airmanship. Lieutenant Sharma, thrust differential holding stable at 3.2 degrees right. Initiating final descent. Landing gear deployed via gravity drop. Rate of sink, 800 feet per minute. NNHE touchdown hard but perfectly centered. The landing was impossible. He used the rulebook, the manual he had mastered, to perform an act of airmanship that instinct alone could never have achieved. Absolute silence descended on the airfield. And Commander Thorne ran onto the tarmac. He didn't see a pilot who got lucky. He saw a pilot who had mastered the limits of his machine. NHE didn't see a spreadsheet. He saw a human supercomputer who had overridden the limits of human instinct. Commander Thorne, Lieutenant Sharma, I have never seen a Sierra 9 executed with such sterile perfection. I couldn't have done that. Nav did the Lieutenant Sharma, Sir. Sierra 9 is the protocol. The protocol is designed for the survival of the aircraft and the pilot when all aggression fails. It only requires adherence. Kayden's final quiet answer was the most lethal statement in the history of Top Gun. He proved that true genius is not always in breaking the rules. Sometimes, it is in knowing them better than anyone else. He redefined the word pilot from Maverick to manual Maverick. His silence, his meticulous nature, was not a flaw. It was the ultimate weapon. Lieutenant Kayden Rule, Sharma's quick-thinking execution of the Sierra 9 protocol silenced every criticism, every sneer, and every doubt cast upon his methodical nature. He demonstrated the ultimate skill of a fighter pilot, the ability to execute the mission when the very air beneath your wings ceases to obey. NNHE taught everyone a brutal, undeniable lesson. The mind of a pilot is not measured by the risks he takes, but by the precision he applies when all hope is lost. NNT, thank you for watching The Historic State. If this story of an impossible landing and the humbling power of perfection moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us, in a crisis, do you trust instinct or protocol? Because here, we believe that true power is not in the size of the weapon you carry, but in the size of the manual you have truly mastered.